when we look at the current playoff bracket, this is courtesy of ESPN. Who are you taking between Bills and Chiefs? That's
Who
the
do I want
biggest
to win,
game.
or who do I think will win? Big
Both.
difference there.
Who do you want to win, and who do you think will win this game?
I think I'm with the entire world in saying I want to see Josh Allen and the Bills go past and beat
Yes, absolutely.
Patrick Mahomes. I think a lot of this, the hate that the Chiefs get, a lot of it was simply because they're good. They have Mahomes, they have Kelsey. They um, they're very successful, and people hate success. But after watching my team, the Niners, lose 2 Super Bowls on pretty interesting plays, 3rd and 15 still haunts me to this day from 2019. That said, after watching the Texans and Chiefs game and just seeing the penalty disparity between the teams and how the refs called that game, and I'm not saying games are rigged. I just think it's simply they know Mahomes is their golden ticket to views and people hate them. And it was really ugly to a point of you had CJ Stroud and you had Will Anderson in the post-game press conferences talking about, we know what it means to come here. You have to play the Chiefs and the refs. It's a bad look for the NFL.
It is.
And I do wonder, I really wonder that because there was so much vitriol on the field, off the field, the fans, if you want to be in that tinfoil cap NFL rigged conversation, you have to wonder maybe the NFL is like, okay, like we have to make sure Kansas City doesn't get the three-peat this year. Go ahead, Bills. But I think, although I'm not in that realm of living, I really want to see Buffalo win. I think they lost 3 or 4 Super Bowls when they had Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas leading the charge. Josh Allen's a great guy, incredible quarterback. I want to see him get the monkey off his back this year.
Grew up a Niner fan, big time Niner fan. That's all I needed.
Big country boy,
like,
first round. Yeah. Like it's just there's so much to like from Josh Allen, and I think that this whatever day it is, Sunday, Saturday, whatever day it is, the history between these teams are going to be. It's going to be an all-time like hate fest because these teams hate each other, and they can't wait to watch it.
Speaking of, the bad calls that we saw over this past weekend, this just irks me, pisses me off when I see crap like this. Patrick Mahomes does not agree with the narrative that he and the Chiefs get extra calls from the refs. I don't feel that way. I just feel I just try to play football, and at the end of the day, the referees are doing their best to call the game as fair and as proper as they can. Go fuck yourself. I don't care, Larry. I'm sorry I swore, but no, dude. It was ridiculous. And then not only that, but the shove, not even the shove, the push out of bounds, and he was like, that he flopped. and I'm so glad they didn't call that. They were like, I can't do that one, dude. And then not only that, but that got blown up all over social media, all over ESPN. So, he's aware that everyone's looking at that like, oh, they all noticed that. I thought I was being slick about that. And not only that, but then, what is it? The head of officiating has to release a video to, describe why that one call was made. And I'm sorry, but like, if the head of officiating has to, make a video to talk about why the call was made, to me, that at least says that at the highest level in the NFL, they're aware that now it's...
Well, they have to be.
I mean, before, I think they kind of played it off as if like, oh, that's just an urban legend, whatever. Fans are going to say all kinds of crazy stuff. But now I think that's kind of been put more into light. And so now they're probably like, okay, so everyone's kind of aware of this now. Like, the only time I've ever seen Patrick Mahomes not get the calls and the Chiefs not get the calls that they were supposed to be getting, that they're used to getting, was against the Buccaneers. Because I don't think, this sounds really bad, but I don't think the NFL was like, I mean, I should say this. I think the NFL had a stance of, hey, he cannot outdo Tom Brady. And because Tom Brady was on the other side, I mean, how many holding penalties they were calling holding on the Chiefs left and right, pass interference, everything that they normally don't call against the Chiefs, they did in that game because Tom Brady was on the other side. So I think they were like, well, if he wins, he gets to cement himself as the greatest of all time. And so there was a lot more riding on that This is me purely speculating at that, but that's just kind of what I feel. But that really pisses me off that he would come out and say that. But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what is he supposed to say?
Well, it's
Oh
funny too
yeah,
because right, like, yeah, I do get favored. Like, okay, like we all know LeBron James gets calls that Joe Blow and the G League won't get. We all know
yeah.
MJ got calls, Curry, although doesn't get many calls. Like your superstars get calls, right? And so it's not surprising. Like, and it's also not the first time there's been ticky tack calls with like top NFL teams. Go back to the Rams and Saints game in the playoffs that eventually led to Sean Payton kind of pushing the NFL to leading to having defensive interferences challenged because the guy got rocked in the playoffs and they didn't call
Oh,
it.
that was the worst. And then the guy who hit him was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I lit him up. It was either get the call or give up a touchdown."
Right. And look, the Saints had chances to win that game afterwards, but then you look at the Chiefs. We all know in San Francisco, Nick Bosa was held. It happens all the time. Even this past year against Kansas City, Shanahan's pointing out, look, I don't mind if you call that, but call it on both sides. And it doesn't happen. And not even taking the Niners perspective here, go back to that Chiefs game against Philadelphia. James Bradbury gets called for a holding penalty, which is like, okay, like maybe you call it, but like you're letting them play for 3.5 quarters, not the fourth quarter. Why? And so the NFL this year has been atrocious at penalties, refereeing. It's been really bad. And I think that on a big stage like that, where most of the NFL doesn't want Kansas City to win, sometimes there's, people over analyzing things, but I think on full display last weekend, it was clear as day that, I mean, you watched Jared Goff get destroyed by the Commanders' defense.
He got lit up.
If that was Mahomes, it would have been 15 yards, ejections, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, targeting, like what?
And to Mahomes' credit, he knows he can get away with things. He knows how to skirt the rules.
If you look at like right when he gets hit, where is it? Right there. He's looking at the ref. He's like, "Did you see that? Did you see that? He pushed me down." And he knows what he's doing.
Right. So like it's hard to, would I blame him for knowing it? No. Like if you know you have an advantage, use it. Same thing as the Dodgers. You want to defer money? It's not illegal. You can do it.
I don't want to talk about Dodgers. I don't. I really don't.
So did you see that Kirby Yates signing?
Did you see the that post of Robert Saleh? It was like on the move, going to the Dodgers, and they're like, and people were like, they did it again. they signed Robert Saleh. Like, fuck it, bring him in.
Honestly, man. Well, now there's reports the Dodgers are trying to trade players away from their 40-man roster because they can't house all these players they just signed. And it's like,
ridiculous.
What the hell's going on? Like, okay, but back to football. Like, Mahomes knows he can skirt the rules. Mahomes knows he has the advantage, so he uses it. I don't blame him for that, but it's up to the NFL to go, okay, our fans see this. It's not just like, if it was just the fans, whatever, the fans bitch him all the time. But it's like, now the opposing teams, their quarterback, their coaches, their defensive players are talking about this aloud. Like, it's a known thing.
It's a known thing. It's so bad.
And so, like, now you have to course correct, and I wonder if they overcorrect this weekend against the Bills, and hopefully things go Buffalo's way, which I won't complain about.
No, absolutely not.